Good evening, good evening.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Monday night edition. Let's Unwind with the Evans.
Yes, and I'm your host, Jessica.
And I am your co host, Thomas.
And today we are going to be discussing just women. For many that aren't aware, and if you haven't been scrolling on Facebook and all your social media platforms today, it is International Women's Day.
Yeah.
So we're going to be discussing the influential women that have actually paved the way for us and who actually impacted us growing up. We'll share about them, giving them honor, giving them recognition. We'll also just share, just like just what it is to be a woman, what all comes with womanhood, and just the different challenges that we have faced from ages ago. We've definitely experienced some trial and error and just, not being able to do certain things, discrimination at the highest, just based off of gender. And you look at where we are now, and the world has evolved in such discrimination. So the world has evolved in such a major way that now we still have the same liberties now as men. We have the same liberties as, people that are not necessarily Black like we are. We still have those same opportunities, and we can sit at the same table. There's just so much power in that, I believe. So tonight we're going to just be discussing those things with you.
So before we get into all those things, we want you guys to tag and share. Tell your family and friends that we are on the air. We want to get the numbers up. We want to make sure that plenty of people get to see it. We want to make sure that plenty of people get to hear it, because we believe it's going to bless them, that it's going to empower, encourage. Tonight should be a great night. It really should be. So we definitely encourage you guys to, let somebody else know what's going on as we get ready to get into some really good stuff tonight, really awesome stuff.
And to my husband's point, go ahead and just share where you're from. We actually are able to see the comments. So go ahead and let us know where you're from, where you're tuning in from. What is something that you did today from a self-care perspective? Just let us know that, because for me, I literally, even if it was just a few moments, typically when I'm working from home, giving, COVID and all of those changes that have taken place, I've been working from home since last March. So sometimes I really don't get the chance or the opportunity to even go out or leave the house or just go outside to check the mail. Sometimes I just really do not know, or really just don't experience going outside until maybe the weekend. So for me, I actually had a doctor's appointment, but it had to get rescheduled. But I still, went out. It was about 2:00 in the afternoon. Went to my quote unquote doctor's appointment, and then, stopped at a store and all of that. Just really embraced the beauty. Today was just like a really nice day. It was in the 70s. So if I didn't already have my nails done, that would be something that I would have definitely went to go do, get a massage, go to a spa, just treat yourself.
My language, no?
So
massaging.
So yes, I would have just spent all that time doing that.
Massage it, baby. Let me stop before I need a massage.
But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Go ahead and tag and share. So I'm going to go ahead and kick this off.
And look who jumped on.
Hey, sis, Renee. So yes, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of kick this off for us tonight. We're not going to keep you too long. But for me, when I think of womanhood, I think of so many different things today. I think about entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. I think about mothers. I think about wives. I think about aunts. I think about friendships. I think about leaders. I think about It's just so vast. What?
Can I say something?
Mhm.
Vice presidents.
Yeah.
You can actually now say vice
Well,
presidents.
leaders, yep.
I mean,
So yeah, that is very big what transpired with that. But no, we're just now in so many different positions that it's not just narrowed down to just motherhood or being a wife or taking care of home. And I think there's just so much liberty in saying that now we are able to do a lot more, and it shows so much value. Right. It shows so much value. And I think for a lot of women, they may even struggle, or I think that's where a lot of low self-esteem can come from because of what transpired with not necessarily having a voice. So the voice was stripped from you. You weren't able to vote. You weren't able to do this. You weren't able to do that. So gaining that independence for a woman, there had to have been, if you didn't have other strong women around you pouring into you as you were growing up and as you were developing, well, then you kind of still get stuck in that whole mindset of just not, having that self-esteem that you really need to go out and pursue certain things and pursue your dreams.
That's so, good. As you say that, I really sit here. Hey, Pastor Rodney, Pastor Rodney, thank you for jumping on. I think about something that's just a little bit different. It may catch some off guard, but we know as a Black culture what we have experienced and encountered. But just imagine that within the Black culture, you had women who also had to endure their own individual struggle inside of the struggle. That to me is really interesting, because as I think about it, it's like, wait, you already had to go through what you went through as a Black person. Period. There's already a struggle. There's already a minority, section of people, and within the minorities, now you have another minority. But the great thing about it is that women have, to your point, have overcome so much about that, and come through these struggles that just, like really, like you just mentioned, not having a voice, not being able to do this, not being able to do that. Hey, Prophetess Simonia, how are you? God bless you. Happy International Women's Day to you as well. But women have had to endure and go through so many things that, now, like like when I say to think, hey, we can now say vice president. I mean, that is so huge. Hey, Dr. Marcia, God bless you. Thank you for jumping on, woman of God. Marcia, and that's a prime example. That woman does so many things. Hey, Cinder, thank you for jumping on. I mean, women are so diverse. I'm amazed a lot of, I think about my mother, all that my mom had to go through, all that she had to endure, and the strength that she always showed. One thing I can say about women, especially Black women, is something I don't want to kind of get into the racial thing, but I can speak to what I've seen. I can speak to what I know.
Black woman raised you.
Yeah, and I can speak to what I know, and the strength and the courage, and that there's just something about, that woman that is never giving up, never quitting, never. But I mean, that to me is just so amazing because of the resilience. Heck, I watch you sometimes and I'm just amazed. I'm like, this woman is just, she will not sit down. She will not allow herself, and I'll be like, baby, I got this. Just, and that is just amazing to me. And then even to take it a step further to when a woman begins, she's pregnant and she's having a child, you're carrying a life on the inside of you. That's one thing as a man will never be able to equate with, will never be able to compete with, will never be able to identify with. I mean, we can be close to our children, but there's never going to be the closeness that compares to a mother carrying her child. I mean, it is so the woman is when God made the woman, he literally broke the mold. He really did. You know, it's just amazing. And you just think about over the years, all of the different women who have done so many amazing things, where they've come from and what they've done. You know, that you ladies deserve to have an International Women's Day. I know we got like Mother's Day and all of that, but you deserve to have a day that just honors and celebrates you for who you are, all that you do, all that you endure. I mean, all that you're able to go through and still stand no matter what. I mean, I just find a woman's courage to just be amazing. You know, it really is.
So as a man, with you being raised with your mother and also your father, but what kind of traits did your mother kind of instill in you to develop your character along the way? Because naturally, for those who do not know, for the longest, you just were raising 4 boys. So you didn't really have mothers raise their children with certain mannerisms and certain things like that. And not to say that that was stripped away because you had all boys for most of the time when you were developing as a father and getting into fatherhood. But that was one of those things to where you didn't necessarily have to be as censored or have to be as gentle, I would say, because you were raising guys. So when it comes to just things that your mother has, you know, taught you along the way, what things do you think really helped you to become the father that you are today, given the fact that now you have a daughter?
That part, listen, the daughter that's completely different. But when you say that, the first thing that jumps at me is it's really funny is because, you know, I remember I'm a teenager and, you know, I would come in from whatever it may be, football practice, basketball practice, whatever I was doing. I would come in the house and the first thing I would do was run up and I would kiss my mom on the cheek. And it never failed that there's times she would stop me and say, baby, that's too hard. You don't kiss a woman that hard like that. You've got to be gentle. Yeah, I mean, and it's things like that that's kind of set in it. Like, well, what do you mean? And so she taught me gentleness. You know, she taught me how to be gentle and how to be caring from that perspective. But again, you know, my mom was courageous, and so she taught me how to be courageous. You know, I didn't see her back down from a fight. I didn't see her back down from a battle, and it taught me to never back down from a fight, never back down from a battle, and so.
She taught you never to give up.
Never give up, never quit, you know, and if you see something that's not where it needs to be, adjust it. You know, we were having a conversation with her the other day and she was mentioning, you know, we were talking about my brother and, you know, I shared with you, I said, you know, if my mom and dad struggled at a certain time frame, and for those of you who don't know, me and my brother are like eons apart. I mean, like 15, 16 years apart. So if they struggled, my brother never saw it because my mother would never let him see something like that. Because for her, it was about, I'm going to protect you from that. And, you know, and so I saw that, you know, and that made a major impact on me. Like, wow, you know, that's big, you know, and she's like, baby, you will never know this. You will never know that struggle. You'll never know this struggle. When she had me and my birth father left out at 2 years old, you know, it was me and my mom. And, you know, she basically was like, look, so she read to me every night. She made sure that I had the best clothes, that I had this, that I had that I was educated. And it was never a time where if I had to struggle with something, she would let me struggle. She would be like, baby, no, you're the best. No, you can do this. No. Yeah. I mean, so it was she never let me question myself.
Right.
It was always a matter of, no, you will not question yourself. You'll get out and you'll do this. You know, you'll walk out here. You'll do.
That's really huge.
And that's, I think, what's important, you know, that from a woman's perspective, what she instilled in me.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then it also went into just other areas as I've mentioned, with having a daughter and then also with being a husband. So you went from the major role being a son, that was your first title, was a son, and then you developed into all these different roles, but you still carried what she instilled in you. And I think that's very big. Just to talk about me, actually, there were quite a few different women along the way that I actually will show honor to tonight, which came from my grandmother, my grandma Rosa. She, when you talk about never quitting, never fighting, that was her. She was a great communicator. She loved family. You were going to laugh. She had this sweet old sarcasm that it was just everything. Like you would think you would be mad at her for something, or maybe she told you the truth about yourself, and you're mad about her for something, and then she'll be like, "Come here, I fix you a plate." She'll give you a plate, and Marcia knows. But yeah, she was just amazing. She just really did. You wouldn't have known about the struggle and certain things. She used to share stories because she actually passed away in 2013 to Alzheimer's and dementia. So I know that all too well, Apostle Sally, when you were talking about, your mom and all of that. So yeah, my grandmother, she battled with that for a very long time. But before she began battling with that, she just shared with me so many different stories. She was there for the Great Depression. She was there through slavery. She was born in 1920s. Mm-hmm. So she saw a lot of different things. And she, and that was kind of great, because even in, the last stages of her life, she was able to see a Black president. And I just really, for someone who went through so much and saw the world in such a country in such an ugly state, to be able to see like, okay, now we're moving a certain direction, and the labor was not in vain. So that was really good for her to see.
Did you ever get to talk to her about that?
Her mind was already.
Her mind was already. I bet that would have just been quite a story right there.
Yeah, her mind was already gone, unfortunately. But that was one. Then my mother, she actually instilled in me so much, from how you present yourself, how to talk, how to dress, how
Your
to
mom
sit.
Did a great job.
She
really did. Your mom raised you. She did a heck of a job.
Yeah, she did. I mean, I was just so
She's such
enamored.
A lady,
yeah, I was just so enamored by my mom's strength. And when I say that, my mom, for those who may not know, she actually got diagnosed with lupus when I was in the 7th grade. And when she got diagnosed with lupus, naturally we went through certain things. She had 2 open heart surgeries and all of that type of stuff. And she just went through a lot when I was younger, growing up. And one of the things she did, she wanted to actually be a paralegal, an attorney. And she went back to school, and she enrolled in college when she was going through all she was going through health-wise.
With the lupus, after having the heart surgery.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow. That was, yeah. She went back to school as a full-time student, not part-time, not doing online. I mean, getting dressed every day to go downtown, to walk that campus, to go to her classes.
Talk about strength.
Yeah, I mean, she did that full time. She had night classes in the evening. I mean, she really did a lot. She was really committed to that. She did get her degree, so that she did finish. She completed that.
Awesome.
And so I think for her, it was just no matter what comes your way, you can't control what comes your way. And that's what she taught me. So to continue to still live. Continue to still live, continue to still dream.
That's a word.
Yeah.
Ooh, continue to live. Whoa, that's a word.
Continue to live. Just because you got this diagnosis and all that, still continue to live. Continue, because you don't know who your witness is, and you may not be a mother yet. but you may be someone's aunt and you don't know what you're doing to who you're influencing, in other words. So my mother really did influence me, and that's part of the reason why he's just like, you don't just sit down and no, I really can't just sit down. And
I'm amazed because she is my wife. Like I said, she's such a lady.
mm-hmm.
And, she always shares these stories about, what her mom used to do and certain things is hilarious. But she's such a lady. And because her mother taught her to be a lady, in every instance, to be a lady, but that just continued to live. I mean, that is so powerful. Something just went off through me with that.
Because so many women can just give up or give in. Okay, I got this negative report at the doctor. My life is over. Or they start living less or accepting less in their life because they feel less of a woman. Right. Let's think about women who aren't able to conceive even. And it's like, okay, well, I can't, I may have fertility issues or whatever the case may be. And no one knows that from the outside. They just see the woman and they're just like, okay, I see the woman, I see the age. Why don't you have kids? And it's like, why is there so much pressure? And you don't know day by day what that woman is going through. So when you
poking.
No, I mean, it's true. And women can do that too. No, women do that to each other. And we should know what we can endure as women, but we still do it because that's just what comes with womanhood. Oh, you have to be a mother. Or you're less, no, you can still impart, you can still nurture, you can still do all of those things as if you were a mother, because you don't know what other child, of course you have adoption and all that type of stuff, but it's still, that's just an example to just share with. There is so much pressure, and sometimes society just pigeonholes this particular idea of a woman. Right. And I don't think, that's right for.
And that's big. Now, I mean, that's just a great point, because with all that women have had to suffer and endure and come over, there's still, in some cases, this box that even women put other women in that, wow. So who was the other person?
That's generational. And the last person is my sister Jonah. So she definitely, oh my gosh, okay. So she did a lot of things. She imparted a lot of things in me, but because we have this age gap, like how my husband said with his brother, my sister and I are 11 years apart. So a lot of things she did, she kind of taught me not to do. So I didn't like getting in trouble. I saw what trouble looked like for her. Oh, so I was like, okay, so that's how I avoid this. I might do the same thing, but I'm not going to go the same path. I'll go around, So
Pray for your girl.
But yes, I was some Popeyes chicken sandwiches. I was a rebel before I got saved. Yeah, I was definitely a rebel. Yeah, I was. But to God be the glory. But yes, I really do have to honor her, because even with her, even with my sister, I watched her go through, as we're talking about fertility issues, but I watched her overcome not being able to bear a child and have a child and to conceive and to carry out long term. She had one child, but after she had her first child, she got diagnosed with endometriosis, which is a common medical condition for a lot of women.
So wait, your mom got diagnosed with something, and your sister now gets diagnosed.
Yes. Wow. Yep, she got diagnosed with endometriosis, but she still just like, because that's what was taught to us, continue to live. So she still had her businesses. She would tell you in a heartbeat, I'm not going to work in corporate America. She did that. She was an IT tech. She graduated from Strayer University, and she was just in this IT field for the longest, working for the hospital and all that type of stuff. And she just said, you know what? No, I'm not doing this anymore. And ever since then, she went into graphic designing. She self-taught herself. She didn't get a degree in it. This is when YouTube wasn't even popular like that. She self-taught herself how to create certain designs and websites and all of this different stuff. So she was just so innovative.
Y'all hear the DNA, right? She putting pressure on your boy. I just want y'all to know that.
She was
putting serious pressure on your boy.
She's so silly. She was just so innovative, and even with what she was going through, she was still having so many different businesses. And when I say businesses, I mean she at least was working about 6 or 7 businesses at the same time.
She's a what they call
jack of all trades.
She's jack of all trades.
Yeah.
She's one of those in New York.
Yeah.
Those Jewish. She's a Jewish girl.
She's so stupid.
She's a Jew. There it is.
But yeah,
she got like 20 businesses.
She's something, but I say all that to say and encourage women who are watching who may be struggling. The testimony that I'm going to give, because my sister does not do social media. She is not on Facebook. She's not on Instagram or none of that. She's not doing that. But what I will share, which is a testament to God and the faith that she has, she was able to conceive a second time, and she carried out the baby full term, no medical issues. The baby was healthy. She had, when I say she had the smoothest delivery in labor, I mean she had it on, I don't know. If I had any aspirations with conceiving a child, I would want it to be exactly like that. I would want the pregnancy to be as smooth as it was the labor. It got to the point where when she was dilating and going through all of it, the doctor came in and was telling her she was trying to like breathe and do all this stuff and push. And the doctor was like, no, I don't need you to push because you'll break the baby's neck. The head is already out. I just need you to breathe. I looked at that. I said, well, dang. You just got to breathe. That's all you got. And she was not in labor for that long. I mean, I count overnight. I mean, she was there all day and all night, but he still came, quickly. And I was like, people who are in labor for
like. She was away from me for a minute. I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't having it. I was like, look, that baby better bring his butt on before I come up there and I pull him out.
He had to pray. You see, he had to go into prayer about it.
I'm trying to tell y'all understand.
It was quick because I told him, I think I spent the night at the hospital.
Yes, you did.
Yep. He wasn't having it.
I'm trying to tell, look, can't stand being away from my wife.
Yeah.
But I have a question for you, because one thing that I've noticed about women that amazes me, first of all, a woman will support a woman. Mm-hmm. I mean, my God, if a woman's doing something, y'all fly y'all come from Egypt to support another sister doing something. But the thing that's interesting is a woman may not even know another woman necessarily, but the camaraderie that you all have and how you all relate to each other, and where does that come from? Why? Because the reality is that men, we just don't have that. We can't talk. We can't get a bunch of brothers in the same room. And when we have conversation, it's like, yo, bro, I got a business card. Check out my business card. Oh, yeah, I got a business card, too. Oh, that's a great business card. Okay, I got a business card. You got a business card? Mm-hmm. Great, you got a business card. That's the extent of our conversation.
Yeah.
Y'all have this.
Because women just love women. Women love when a woman exhibits strength, it's contagious. It's like, that if you're not confident, well, if you see another woman who's confident and flowing in her lane and handling her business, making boss moves, then that automatically does something to your spirit and empowers you. Like, oh, I can do that too. Why not support?
Wow.
And that's kind of the mindset. Now you have some women who just don't really know what support is because they themselves don't operate. No, it's no dig on them, but they don't operate from an entrepreneurial perspective. So if you don't have an entrepreneur mind and you're not business oriented like that, you don't think that just by sharing a post just by, sharing with your friends and family, this is what she does. Maybe she has a boutique. You guys should try it out. Or maybe just invest in your friend's business or your family member's business by saying, okay, well, I want your product and I'm going to pay full price for it. Oftentimes, I hate to say it, but in our culture, we want discounts. We want freebies. And it's like, no, but you can go to, Joe or Carl down the street and he owns a store, and it's like you'll give them, that money because they're popular, or they have a brick or mortar type of place or a storefront. So it's like, okay, well, they're popular, they're mainstream, so let me go ahead and give my business to them. Or it's just so convenient to go to that beauty supply store when you have other women who are trying to evolve on social media platforms and trying to make a living for themselves. And it's like, no, I'm gonna sit back and not support. I'm not that person. If I see one woman win, no matter what color you are, we all win, because we really had to fight to get to this place.
But by and large, the women will still support. Yes, you'll have that group that might, but by and large, oh, girl, she's selling some shoes. Let me go get some of those shoes.
Now, women love fashion now.
I mean, and so, and the difference is with us men, it's like, man, it's like a fight in the ring.
I think for you guys, it could be an intimidation perspective, but we could say the same thing for women. Women can easily be intimidated. We deal with jealousy just like men do.
But you're still more open to support each other.
Yeah, we're more open to support. But what I'm saying is there are some women who are just not like that. I just think from a business mind, you have to have a certain mindset to feel like, okay, I got to support this person, or I want to support this person genuinely.
Right. And look at what Marcy was saying, and I'm gonna brag about it. And that's just it. Women would brag on each other. Dudes is like, it's my platform. I gotta have a platform. That's it. I mean, it's such a different. And I that's one thing that I can honestly say that I do admire about women. I watch how that works, and naturally, I'm in public speaking. That's what I do. I mean, as a public speaker, a preacher, life coach, doing these things. And it's amazing to me that if I'm doing something, well, naturally, you're not going to have a whole lot of brothers. The women are going to be there. But you can take the same thing that I'm doing, and I'm just using an example, and I could put your face on it and say, okay, you're going to do this. It's like standing room only. And women are, and it's like, oh my God, what? And to me, I'm just like, that is so crazy. I mean, but I love it because a woman is so open, and it's like, look, I got my girl's back. I mean, it's powerful. Yeah. And it's just something. I'm like,
no, I said we are powerful. That's my segue, but we are very powerful. I will say that, and it's just so much that we possess on the inside of us, from being courageous to being powerful, resilient, all of those wonderful traits that we do have. And sometimes some women have untapped potential. And when I say untapped potential, if they're not in the environment that's conducive or in a healthy environment, they don't know what they possess on the inside. And that's a sad case.
Women are very influential.
Yeah, they are
and it takes another woman doing something to help influence or stir up.
Yes, because like say for men, a woman who may have untapped potential could be married to a man, and your husband is always affirming you. Your husband may be always complimenting you and all that, but it hits differently when it comes from another woman.
And that's the point I'm making right there.
Differently, because it's like, wow, you see me, and you're powerful, and you took the time out to acknowledge me. You took the time out to compliment me, and so it's things like that I think for even the younger generation is, why they do what they do. But
see, and that's what I mean. I find that amazing because, again, just from a man's perspective, it's cool if another dude, and our mindset a lot of times is like, hey, if you do, great. If you don't, it doesn't matter. I'm good. But now if my lady acknowledges, it's a whole nother perspective. But you're saying, okay, the husband can affirm, but if another woman affirms, that just gives a whole different. See, that's that dynamic.
It goes back to, and I know I have so many powerful women on this live watching us.
Do tell.
I have so many powerful women on the line watching us, but honestly, it goes back to our childhood. Not a lot of women, the prettiest, smart, intelligent, entrepreneurs, they probably went through hell to get where they are. And that's just being honest. In childhood, there's so much jealousy that happens from a young age. And until you're surrounded by people who can affirm you and speak into your life and speak and have a healthy environment and a conducive environment, you start inwardly kind of shutting yourself down or minimizing who you are so that you can fit in, that you won't be.
So you're saying that at a young age, there's probably not enough affirmation girl to girl.
No, there's not. So when you look at this dynamic of being adults, that's why jealousy is so prevalent still. With people who have not grown up or went through therapy or went through their counseling that they needed to go through and evolved in that way. But women now who are adults and, have families, have their businesses going or what have you, they're actually empowering other women and they want to be around like-minded women.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I just think even from, saying, okay, well, it was always like that coming up, it wasn't. So even with that, we had to fight and push beyond other women to get where we are. So we were not always on the same team.
Do you think that let's go back to, let's say, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King era, that time frame? Do you think that dynamic still went on with women, where the women were not necessarily affirming each other as they should have, and that's kind of still?
I think so. I think it's more of the affirming nowadays, because typically with social media, if it wasn't for social media, I'll say that social media has had such a great influence on our culture as a whole.
Correct.
You have you have men, befriending other men, trying to, chop it up or whatever the case may be. You have women sharing each other's flyers, liking each other's pictures, and just trying to get more information on how they got to their particular level that they got to. So you have so many different things that's privy to you. Just by you picking up your phone, you have access to all different. You have access to celebrities. You have access to people you went to school with. You have access to strangers. You have access to so many different walks of life, if you will. So you're able to now receive and give information and introduce yourself in a way that you may have not even had this opportunity if it wasn't for social media. So I think that plays a part.
We are doing a celebration because today is the International Women's Day.
Yes.
And we're celebrating women and the power of women and everything that comes with that. And, as I say that, I'm just immediately reminded of the fact that in Genesis, when, Adam was walking in the garden with God, God looked at him and he said, "It is not good that man should be alone. Let me make him a helpmate." And, we all know the story. Adam went to sleep, and when he woke up, he was like, "Oh my God." And the rest is history. And men hadn't been the same since, because every time oh my God, we go crazy. But my point in saying that is that it's not good for men to be alone. And ideally, man needs a woman in order for certain fulfillments to manifest, certain things to happen. And I shared with someone else before that, I'm thankful because, Bible says that when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing and he obtains favor. And the key is not that man does not have favor. Man has favor. However, when he finds that one that God has for him, his favor goes into overdrive.
Yeah.
And I can truly say that for me, when I found my favor went, it was like from 0 to 100 real quick. And it's like, why couldn't you do that for your boy? He's like, well, because you need it. And so I say that because I want you guys to understand that we really have to give honor to those great vessels that God has given us in women, you know. And actually what that right there that Marcia had put, you know, send a shout out to my sister-in-law, Doris Choice Workman, who's a franchisee and proprietor of her own Outback Steakhouse in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And that is a perfect example because we were in Sumter, South Carolina, Saturday at an Outback that Doris used to work at.
Yes.
Now, I'm not trying to bash or anything like that. It was just a bad night.
Yeah.
But what's funny is everybody kept saying, if Doris was here, it wouldn't have been like that.
Yep.
It would, and I'm like, okay, who is this Doris and where can we find her? Because clearly she got it going on. Clearly there's something that's happening. But to that point, there's so many powerful women doing great things out here. Businesses, I mean, all the workshops that goes on. I mean, and I'm amazed. Again, my wife is a straight lady, okay? And so what happens is I watch her, you know, this time she's on, you know, social media, to her point, looking at women's workshops, you know, looking at other women do business, looking at women make makeup, looking at what, you know, I mean, and again, I have to say it's so amazing to watch.
It's tangible.
And even to have a daughter and to watch what my daughter does. This girl learns stuff without anyone having to teach. And I'm just like, yo, my dudes wasn't like this. My boys, it's just so amazing how quickly a woman can pick up something and do something with it.
So you guys, thank you all for tuning in. Marcia, youthebomb.com for tagging people. You done tagged about 100 people on the line. I love you. Lady Renee, Apostle Sally, thank you for tagging and sharing all of those who have tagged and shared. But, you know, going into the last 20 minutes of our show, I just wanted to really talk about relationships and, you know, marriage, since this is our relationship talk show. And for women, I just, I know that for us, we have a certain, and it kind of goes back to the singles edition we did with like, with the co-ed singles and that platform.
That group.
But there are a lot of qualities that women actually do want and need in their man. There are in their husband. And one of those needs are, as we mentioned previous times in our show, is having a man who is secure in himself, secure in his finances, secure in his family, secure in his relationship with God, just very secure, which we need security in our marriage and our relationship. Right. And so that's one. I will say from that perspective, if there is a lack of security in the marriage or relationship, or the husband is not operating or doesn't know the need for it, well, as women who are very empowered, if we will, we talked about it in this video earlier. So if you're just tuning in, please catch the replay. But we were actually already discussing this. It's so easy for women to take on that role. And they don't even know that they're taking it on.
Ooh.
They're not trying to do it intentionally. Ooh. But it's like, okay, if this is lacking, I'm going to pick it up because we're not going to sync together. Like, you may not know we're syncing, but I know if we keep this going, if I allow it to continue down that far, it is going to sync. So I'm not going to watch. What kind of wife would I be to watch? So it's one of those things to where you have to communicate, ladies, what you need in your spouse. My needs may be different from your needs, but it is up to us as, you know, wives and things of that sort, for, you know, us not to just shut down, or for us not to just go into this little tantrum that we go into because we're unfulfilled. Well, does your husband, Does your significant other know what it takes to fulfill you?
That requires communication.
It does require communication. So we talked about security.
Hello.
Communication. We definitely need that. And communication isn't just talking about, and it's funny because my husband talks about it all the time. It's not just talking about things and what you did today, how was your day at work,
I got a business
and all this
card.
other stuff.
You got a business card?
Yeah.
I got a business card. I got my name on the business card. What about you? You got your name on the business card? Oh, you got your name on the business card? Oh, girl, I got my name on the business card too.
So
we talking.
Is that
we
just
having a
talking
conversation.
or communicating?
That is what the Bible would call sounding brass.
Yes.
Sounding brass.
Hey, Kim. I miss you.
That means that all you're doing is making noise, but you're not talking about anything that's allowing you to connect.
Yes, absolutely. So he said it, not me. Okay, so we talked about security. We talked about communication. What else? What else do I need from my husband? Because I can't. Y'all should know what y'all need. I can't tell y'all what y'all need because every woman is different. But as for me and my house, stop. But no. So I need security. I need communication. I also need. I need love. I need love, which is shown in so many different ways. It could be shown nonverbal. It could be shown verbally, with the I love yous, but then also what do you do in the midst of if I'm not feeling well? What do you do in the midst of lessening the load for me? What do you do in the midst of just wanting to be a helpmate? And I think that is so that's really how you really show acts of service. That's like a love language, but that can be how a woman knows that she's being loved and that she's being valued.
Kim has her own salon in Sumter.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't been to the salon.
Yep, she has her own salon.
We got to come bless the salon, Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yes. Oh, I used to go all the time when I was younger.
We could be blessed that we throw some oil on that thing.
Silly. But
quadruple business.
But what else? I think. Well, actually, see how much he's been paying attention. What have I shared with you that I need?
She is funny. She ain't slick. She tried to set me up for the okie doke. I already knew what you was doing.
What have I shared with you that I need?
I know need security. Is that where you begin your slinging from, Marcia? Because your dude always you can just sling it in the wind and your hair just slow motion. Like, okay. Kim be doing that. Wow. My baby needs vulnerability. My baby needs transparency. My baby needs love. She needs security. She needs things. I mean, and when I say that, I'm saying her love language is receiving. And so, so I have to make sure that, I'm giving and taking care of my boo-boo. But the biggest thing, she really just needs that love, and to know that I care.
Yeah. And I think even for those who are self-sufficient, like for my husband, he is very self-sufficient and he will easily, tell that to you. He really is. But in the spite of just talking about women and Women's Day, it is very important for the fellas watching right now. Rick, I'm going to get you. For the fellas watching right now, it's important to really understand you minimize your woman or you devalue who your woman is in your life if you don't allow her the opportunity to be there with you and through it with you. If she is wanting to help in any facet of the imagination, what's wrong with allowing her to help? Keep in mind, we just talked about, and this is why we're ending with relationships and marriages. So y'all didn't think I was just coming at y'all, fellas. But no, I was working to a close.
Every good Christian got to have 3 closes. That's her first.
So yeah, I was just saying that when it comes down to, you have to be careful with shutting your wife down. Yes, we understand you have strengths. Yes, we understand and trust your leadership, but be careful not to shut your woman down because that's what she had to go through her ancestors, her mom, all women have gone through it. Women have been denied more times than not. That's so crazy. So the last thing you would need to do in your marriage is continue that same cycle. Let's break the cycle. So let's cancel out egos, because in a relationship, in a marriage, if you all are considered one, like my husband and I were considered one. So no matter who gets the job done, we did it. We win together.
You know, what you just said is so powerful, because I just want to put something out there. As men, in most cases, we don't process from the perspective of the struggle that you've already been in. And now to make sure that we minimize any further struggle.
Yeah, just diminish it. That's not.
That's a very powerful point, because you're right. There's so much that already, as a woman, and we know the reality is sexism still exists.
Yeah.
That is still a thing, mm-hmm. and so as men, we don't think about, hey, wait a minute, this, you've already gone through being diminished or overlooked. And now you come home and I'm going to overlook you too.
Yes.
That's, that's just.
So whoa. You never looked at it that way.
No, never really processed it from that angle. But to her point, and
it's easy to, because you're in this leadership role. You're not trying to diminish. I'm pretty sure
you're not doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a subconscious thing you don't recognize. But even like this weekend, we just experienced something where, as she said, I'm very, 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 very independent. So coming into our marriage, she knew I would pretty much do everything by myself. Dress myself, do this, pay bills, do everything. And so I've gotten to a point now where even this weekend, I'm, picking out my clothes for our trip. And I'm like, babe, which shoes should I wear? And she didn't realize that because, and for her, it kind of caught her by surprise, because, she's like, why are you asking me which shoes to wear? You always pick your own shoe. And I said, babe, because I'm trying to let you into that place to help me. And again, being independent, that's I don't want to say a struggle, but that's just a place where I'm trying to let her understand I need you involved in every decision that I make. Mm-hmm. I don't want to carry the whole role. I want to know that we can both toe to toe together, mm-hmm. and do certain things. And so again, to that point, it's really amazing because, in some cases, guys, we may not necessarily be really giving our ladies everything that they can as far as pulling them up, because we're shutting them down, not realizing they're already coming through the door. Just think about the wife who's, out there. She's CEO, she's manager, she's got this major position, and now she has to come home.
Stress.
And for most men, our expectancy is, look, you need to come home and do this. You need to come home and do this. You need to come. Okay, she already just had to go through all of this demands of corporate society. And now coming home, just winding down and changing gears is big.
Yeah.
And so there needs to be a grace and space given, mm-hmm. for that transition, as opposed to demanding.
And it's a mental transition that has to take place. It takes a woman a while to wind down, to truly wind down after a long day at work. It really does.
Clearly, but no, I just, but again, to her point, what do you?
Yeah, so we're asking you,
what
if you haven't shared this with your spouse, it's very important, because men are not mind readers, ladies. You have to communicate what you need. You have to ask yourself before you even communicate with them, is this a priority or is this just a want? Can I live without it, or is this something that I need to survive?
Right. HOA,
if it's something that I need to survive, then I might want to communicate this to them. And that's all we're saying, is to really make it plain for them, because you can't hold them accountable and you can't expect change in the area if they don't know what it is that they should be changing. And so from that angle, I would just encourage you all to really just share, have that conversation. If you maybe you're saying, okay, well, I've had this conversation before, and and there's still something that's lacking or what have you. Well, I would encourage you to find something outside. It kind of sounds like a void, replacing something with it. But if it's suffocating you, if your marriage is truly suffocating you, or how they're treating you is very suffocating, then find another outlet. Don't continue to keep banging your head up against the wall. If divorce is not an option, if separation is not an option, find you another outlet. You don't have to just be miserable, is what I'm saying. Right. So if it's something where you're
productive and constructive.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's women's circles. There's just so many different things you can get into to where you're not always just, okay, well, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. And it's always a constant argument. That's very draining. And that's not how God intended for us to live our lives.
Right. Now, that's true. That is definitely true. I think about, I go back to, again, just kind of the 60s mode. And I just think, we all know about, what Martin Luther King had to, go through, what he endured. Mm-hmm. But I think now about, Coretta Scott King, his wife, what it must have been like to be, his wife. First of all, you're dealing with all of the animosity of what's going on. And now you're the wife of this man who technically is the antagonist of the world.
Yeah.
And you got children. And so I'm like, wow, the strength that the wife had to have had at that moment.
Yes.
And you just kind of go forward. And I mean, I'm going to say something very unpopular right now, obviously, but, let's look at Donald Trump. He was, okay, I guess we can call him a dictator of the world, but he had a wife. Mm-hmm. What must she have been feeling behind closed doors, hearing the things that were talked about with her husband?
Yeah.
And she's a woman. I mean, it's a see that lets y'all know we're not one track mind.
Or even the fact that what was he saying that
we
now, no, for her as the wife, now you're the mouthpiece. I don't really get seen. I get seen from, I'm on your arm, but I'm not really speaking. So, so now you become like the mouthpiece for our entire marriage. So it's almost like I'm in agreement with every decision.
And I have your mind. Was or wasn't.
We don't know.
And that's just what I'm saying. That's again, those are the things that's so big when you look at the women, because the women, in some cases, you have to endure things that you didn't put yourself into. Mm-hmm. You have to, encounter, let's say, arguments, let's say debates, and you gotta always propose a strong front.
Yeah.
You gotta smile. Mm-hmm. Everything has to be okay. You can't show weakness. You can't show that you're really hurt. So kind of going back to the relationship aspect, again, to my wife's point, you have to be able to communicate your needs. But watch it. I want to take this just a step further. And even in the example that I just gave, you still should have a voice enough that if nobody else hears it, he knows what your stance is.
Yes.
He knows. And for the man who loves you, who knows your stance, he's not going to disrespect you.
Yeah.
Based on what you have already said.
Yes.
Look what Renee said. It'd be all over my face. So your feelings be all over your face. If your feelings are over your face, that means it's not being communicated.
No, but I just want to really just thank all of our followers for actually tuning in, our supporters. We love you, but we just wanted to take a minute out. Nothing against the fellas, nothing against the husbands.
Our time is y'all. Coming.
Yeah, y'all time is coming, but today is our day.
Our time is coming, fellas. We're going to have an International Men's Day. I don't know when it is, but when it is, trust and believe. I'm going to have my Kobe jersey on. We're going to be balling out. I might have LeBron come on and sit in with us.
But until then, it's Women's Day. We closing. We got about 2 more hours.
So you can't be hating on the brothers.
We got about 2 more hours.
You come from a place from a disrespectful spouse. Well, see, That's the challenge with that.
Rochelle, we're going to table that. I love you, cousin. I love you. We're running late though. So we're going to table that because I actually do want to get into what you're discussing and what the question that you asked for our next time when we come back on.
Okay.
So I want you to hold that. I'm going to hold it. So that means you have a responsibility.
Renee
That
said
means
it's our month. Really, it's y'all month?
that means you have to come back next Monday at 9:00 to tune in because we're going to start off with that question.
And you know, it's cool.
Yeah. Yes.
And guess what, Marcia? I am going to make one up. You best believe it. Why? Because you will never leave me out. And there's nothing you can do about it. Thank you, Rick. That's what I'm talking about.
So silly.
There's nothing you can do about it.
You guys have a wonderful evening. We love you guys.
Congratulations to every woman that's out here. We appreciate you so much. We appreciate all that you do, all that you have gone through, your courage, your resilience. You deserve every bit of accolades that you get. Baby, I love you. I appreciate you as the international woman. Oh, you are the international woman of my world, of my life, my gift, my package, all that. You my Amazon. Yes, Lord. Lord sent me my own personal Amazon.
I'm his Amazon,
in the form of Jessica.
Well, keep that same energy when the package arrives tomorrow. Let me stop. He hates when I get Amazon packages. I think every husband, you call me Amazon, so, that gives me the liberty to keep ordering. No. Thank you, Jesus. All right, you guys, have a good night.
No, that's not how that's supposed to go. You are my gift, my package.